More Borderlands 4. Let's go. There is more to talk about with Borderlands 4. Not all 100% confirmed, but seems to be like it's pretty credible. Personally, I believe this stuff. I think it's going to all be true. It seems like media company called GameStar that has allegedly been in the game for years and is very legit and credible. I don't know them personally. I am taking this from what somebody said in the comment section of shout out to Epic NNG because he made a video already talking about some of this stuff. If you want to go check him out, I'll leave a link down to the video / his channel down below. But we got people from his comment section saying that GameStar is a more legitimate gaming media source, and then on top of that, to add to the credibility, we got a Japanese media source called Famitsu. I apologize if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but that's also they also just had an interview with Randy Pitchford, and it kind of reinstated some of the things that were said in this German-speaking interview, kind of confirming and shoring up what is going to be coming to Borderlands 4, and I cannot wait to see their next gameplay trailer for this game. There's details here that are just mind-blowing to me. Like, I cannot wait to see more of this game. I am just too excited. So anyways, let me shut up and let's just get it. Well, I won't shut up because I'm gonna have to talk for this video. If you can't tell, I'm excited. I just cannot wait to get more of this confirmation on if these things are real and what else will be in Borderlands 4. So this is what will be coming through from an interview. Shout out to Epic NNG for the video talking about most of these bullet points, but then on top of that, in his comment section, Dragon Senpai 7715 leaving a comment, a German speaker that kind of went through the interview and bullet pointed some of the things that they talked about in the interview. And basically, Randy confirmed double jump and dashing, and of course grappling, we already saw that, will be in Borderlands 4. Double jumping and dashing, that sounds amazing. I love that. I played Wonderlands Redux. If you don't know what Wonderlands Redux is, I have videos about it on my channel. You can go check it out, but that is a mod made by Epic NNG, and he did an incredible job with that. Shout out to him and his team for that mod where they added double jumping and dashing to Wonderlands, and it was such an amazing improvement that it's kind of almost difficult to go back to Borderlands 3 after I play it for a while. But anyways, so they confirmed that. He kind of just said boss battles will be improved, but didn't really explain anything on that. Didn't want to say more. Confirmed that only one planet for Borderlands 4. Only one planet. I'm excited about this. I thought the multi-planet system, as cool as it sounded, kind of took away from the exploration and things of each planet. It made each planet kind of like, it just made it feel like, okay, there's an entire planet. Like Athenas is like an entire planet and was really cool and would have loved to seen more. And we got like a hallway of a map, and that was all we got. So I like that they basically compared Kairos to Pandora, where it's like in Borderlands 2, you get all these different biomes and things, and it's all on one planet, Pandora, and we're gonna get that in Borderlands 4, but on Kairos instead, and I'm really excited about that. Anyways, speaking of vehicles, this is awesome. I absolutely love this one. Digistructing a car right on the spot, right next to you. They compare it to a Destiny with the Sparrows. A Destiny? Yeah. They compare it to Destiny with the Sparrows. And I love this. I absolutely love this. I think this takes away all the issues vehicles brought. I hope they make them scale better than Borderlands 3 did. Borderlands 3, it was like they just got destroyed too easily. But even if they get destroyed too easily, at least it's not, all right, let me make this trek all the way to a station so I can get my vehicle back for 10 minutes. It's like, nope, you're good. You just, and it digistructs right next to you. It really seems like, though, they are pushing for this new characters thing. It really seems like they want to get away from old characters for some reason. I'm not quite sure the reasoning. I'm sure there's a good one, but I just kind of question why. It seems very strange that they're really pushing the narrative of new characters. There will be a lot of new characters in this game. We're getting away from the old characters, and I'm glad they're telling us because it sets the expectations so that we're not jumping into Borderlands 4 like, where's Zed? Where's X, Y, and Z? Where's Marcus? You know, maybe these characters that were a big part of the main group aren't going to be there. So be prepared for that. I'm personally a little excited, and I think a big reason why they're doing this is because they had a writer, Anthony Birch. He wrote things that maybe they want to get away from. So they're trying to do that by separating themselves from old characters. I'm not 100% sure if that's even the reason. Take that with a complete grain of salt. I'm just, seeing what sticks. But aside from that, there is also, which again, coming back to the writing, I find this very interesting for story and writing and all these things. They say Vault Hunters will be introduced to us separately. I think that's really interesting, and maybe you don't quite understand what this means, and I'm not sure I do either, so let me know what you think it means down below. But what I think how I interpret this is there is going to be kind of like, I don't know if you guys have ever played a game that does this, but a prologue maybe where it's like, oh, you have to complete this and then you can play co-op. And in that prologue, in the beginning of the game, you're going to start off as your Vault Hunter with getting some kind of background of your character and some kind of story that's solely that character's story. And you're going to get a little bit of that. And then eventually you're, making your way to a point where you meet up with all these other Vault Hunters, and then you can play co-op. So maybe each individual Vault Hunter is going to get their own individual little beginning to the game, which I think is really cool. I really appreciate this if it's executed well, of course. We have to wait and see. But as an idea, I really appreciate it. I think it's really cool. I think it kind of separates each Vault Hunter a little bit more, giving them a little bit more of their own feel. I really appreciate it, and it kind of gives more to their background and story. Now, starting to jump all over the place because I'm just so excited about this stuff that I kind of am just spewing everything out at you guys. But going back to the seamless worlds, they're basically saying there's no fast travel required. Not there is no fast travel. No, it's not required. So there is still, it sounds like, fast travel in the game where you can go from point A to point B real quick once you discover X and Y, Z stations. But basically, it's not a requirement. They're trying to, which I can't say I'm mad at. I appreciate the trying to lower the amount of loading screens you get and stuff. Not that Borderlands has ever really had that as an issue, but I still appreciate it. I'm sure console players are going to appreciate that one as they had experienced all the terrible loading screens. I hope the improvement they talk about with boss battles also kind of leads into this, where it's like you can pay a currency or something or press a button or whatever to respawn the bosses instead of having to save quit farm. I really just hope we can get away from the save quit farming. I think Wonderlands Redux, if you haven't seen it, again, I have videos on it, you can go check it out. But they have these totems for all the named enemies that are farmable. And you go up to the totem, you pay $7,500 or something, and then it lets you respawn that named enemy. And if Gearbox can figure out how to do this in a little bit of a better way than Redux did, because Redux was limited by the engine, whereas Gearbox has more access to work with things with the engine, it would be really incredible to see this come through. I mean, this is really incredible stuff that we could potentially have at launch, and I just hope they knock Borderlands 4 out of the park. I'm so excited for the game, even though I know there's so many reasons to be cautious with their recent history on the franchise, not including Borderlands 3, which some people look at as kind of a meh game. I love Borderlands 3 personally. But anyways, what do you guys think about all this info? Just kidding, guys. The video is not over. I should have really gone through that Famitsu article while it was right there in front of me and I was already recording. Instead of just recording, I should have gone through it first and kind of done more homework. So I am back. I already finished editing and everything, and then I was like, crap, I read the Famitsu article and everything, and I'm like, oh my god, I gotta go back. There's even more here. So first of all, pretty much everything I've said in this video has been confirmed. Just completely confirmed. Famitsu, I mean, if you look at them on Twitter and stuff, they are a very credible, reputable media source. So pretty much everything I've said in this video so far has been confirmed, but not only that, there is more to go, and this is probably going to be a much longer video than I originally intended, so let me just fly through this, and we can get into some of the nitty-gritty details. So first of all, when it comes to the villain, I know this isn't like huge, and you know, who's going to talk about their game coming out and say bad things? I get it, but I still like to read into this and have some copium positivity here, where Randy basically says, I think you'll notice a clear difference in tone this time around. The timekeeper is serious and sinister, and he's not messing around or playing around. He has a plan that's been brewing for ages, and the Vault Hunters are annoying distractions that he can't stand. Now, most people are going to look at Borderlands 4 and think, Troy and Tyrene, Calypso, you know, the Calypso twins, they sucked as villains. But listen, hear me out. If you play Wonderlands, the Dragon Lord is straight up a villain, next best to Handsome Jack, like right up there with him. Very good villain, very well written, the dialogue and everything. When he talks, he's funny, but he's also like, you know, this evil presence. He's not just some podcast joke kind of thing. Really good. So I have faith again in the fact that they are going to create a villain that is genuinely sinister and an evil presence and has a lot of malice and things, and just I don't think they're going to be trying to crack a lot of jokes with this guy. I think the jokes, kind of like I talked about in my Nervous or Excited video, I think the jokes are going to come from the malice. I think it's going to be more natural. That's my hope, and that's what I think is going to happen here. So anyways, moving on, we next have co-op. Randy talks and says, I am really glad you asked about co-op. That's something we're focusing on. Couch co-op, local cooperative play, online co-op, and a combination of those where 2 or 3 people are on the couch and the rest are remote, and cross-play between different platforms. You can play together if you're on PlayStation, I'm on PC, and another friend is on Xbox. So I like this. I like that they're really focusing on the couch co-op. I get people are like, oh, who uses couch co-op? I don't really care. It's kind of like a remember where you came from for me. It's that level of like, let's keep the franchise core stuff going. Let's keep the franchise what it is. And the franchise has always been about co-op. So I don't care if only 4 people use couch co-op personally. I just think it's important because it's a big part of what Borderlands is. Borderlands has always stressed the co-op aspect. And I think Borderlands 3 really let the co-op down in a big way. Same with Wonderlands. The revive symbols need to be actually seen. Like, you need to know when your friends are down and stuff. The co-op just needs to work in a much better state. It needs a lot of improvement, and I was happy to hear them talk about it here, keeping the couch co-op going. So next they talked about core gameplay elements, and Randy just kind of restated what the core gameplay loop of Borderlands is: shoot, kill, reward. And then they asked about the grapple and saying that, yeah, the grapple will be included in the gameplay, yes? And then basically Randy is like, yes, but there's a bit more to it. And I thought this was kind of cool. He says, grapple jumps allow you to hang in the air a bit longer than a normal jump, and you can glide out or slide sideways. You can dodge and lunge. And we've added a lot of new features to the moveset. Playing the combat scene from the second half of the trailer, our fans will watch this and analyze it frame by frame, because in this short first-person sequence, we've got clues about the upgrades we've made in terms of character movement. We wanted to excel in terms of FPS mobility and movement action. I just wanted to read that mainly because of the new little wrinkle they added in there, where it's letting you know that you get some hang time, some extra hang time when you use the grapple. So I think that's going to be essential. I think they're going to, especially with the grapple being something you can't just use on any piece of wall or something. It's specifically built. So this tells me they're really focusing in on level design, and I think that it's going to be something that is kind of more of a mechanic that you want to use in certain boss fights maybe, and things like that. I think they're really trying to improve the gameplay to make it a little bit more thought-provoking and keeping you engaged. So I really like this. I think this speaks a lot to the volume of which they're focusing on the Vault Hunter's movement and abilities. Now, as much as I'm staying on the uppity up with Borderlands 4, in spite of Gearbox's recent portfolio and how, you know, most people will look at it and say, yeah, I don't have any faith. In spite of that, I've been staying pretty positive and thinking, you know, Borderlands 4 is going to be good, but I don't want to be toxic positivity here. That's not what I'm looking for. That's not what I want to be. I'm just trying to have a good outlook, but I can acknowledge when things look bleak, and that's why I acknowledge their recent portfolio and things, and I get that Borderlands 4, a lot of people are just worried about. And so I wanted to include this. I didn't want to ignore this, because to me, this spoke as a worry. And basically, they were asked about the skill trees, and one of the people, Anthony, from the interview responded saying, to really work with co-op, we wanted each character to have a broad skill tree so that you could build a character that works well with your co-op partner. So no matter which Vault Hunter you choose, you'll have some really good synergy and be able to handle the different areas of combat that you'll encounter as you progress through the world. Now, what sticks out to me there is the fact that he says broad skill tree. That just really stuck out to me and rung in my ears the wrong way. I get what they're trying to say here, where they're trying to make it so that any Vault Hunters will synergize with any Vault Hunters to try to speak to the co-op in a positive light, but it just rung in my ears the wrong way. I heard broad skill trees. I heard kind of jack of all trades, master of none kind of deal, and I really hope that's not the truth. I think that he just kind of said something and I perceived it maybe the wrong way, hopefully, but I wanted to share this because, yeah, this did create a worry for me, and it's, again, I'm not trying to shy away from any negative things that could come out for details in Borderlands 4 or any other games. It's just like, I want to be as real as I can with this stuff. I just have personally a positive outlook on the game overall, which some people would call me stupid for, but yeah, so I wanted to share this. This was a little bit of a worry for me. Anyways, moving on, we got the thing more about Seamless World, and this kind of, I guess, packs down more, like kind of cements more details on it, and kind of makes me still confused on why he's very, very hesitant to call it open world, but clearly there is some kind of thing attached to open world that he doesn't want attached to his game, so he keeps calling it a Seamless World, and they ask him about, like, why, you know, like, is it open world? Why do you call it Seamless World? Thing like that. And he responds saying, in most games, what you see in the distance is just background, what we call a skybox. But in Borderlands 4, all of those places you see here are playable spaces with no loading. Completely seamless, no loading. Everything you see is explorable. That big tower you see in the distance miles away, that's where you'll go. There's the moon. Again, everything you see is explorable. Now, the interview goes on and they say, what we're talking about now includes not only what you can see on the ground, but also what you can see in the sky? And Randy replies, yes. So you mentioned the term open world, and I have to be a little careful about that. Different games have their own definition of what open world means, and many games fill their open worlds with systemic, algorithmically generated content. Whereas in Borderlands, everything is created and placed by our staff. It's everything in the environment, from the leaves to the characters, everything you encounter. Again, this is different from a lot of open worlds that are just created in a systemic way to create a huge space, and I don't want to give the wrong impression. Borderlands 4 is not an open world, but we're creating a seamless world, the largest world in the series so far. It's very big, and there's a lot we can do. Okay, so first of all, it sounds like what he wants to get away from is the fact that people kind of align an open world game with something that isn't completely handcrafted. And it sounds like he's trying to really emphasize the fact that their world is very handcrafted, and that the level design is not just reasonless generated slop he's basically saying it's handcrafted. And we want people to know that. So they're trying to stay away from the term open world just because of the stigma that comes with it. That's what it sounds like to me. Now, my second thing about this, and again, another worry, is that this gives me the Wonderlands vibe with the marketing terms, because they came out with DLCs that a lot of people felt like got ripped off with those DLCs in Wonderlands, because they weren't the normal DLCs that you get in Borderlands, where they're big sized, like 5-6 hour story kind of DLC thing. These were just like run through a couple of trials and kill a boss at the end. And then that was the DLC. And then they did this marketing hat trick to like change it from DLC to PLC. And I was just like, this just seems like a way for you to squeeze out of people complaining about your DLC being, you know, it's supposed to be this way or that way. It's like, nope, it's not a DLC, it's a PLC. And it's like, I want to be excited about this seamless world thing, but then when he's like, well, we're trying to get away from a stigma that comes along with the terms open world, and it's like, okay, so what is different that you're doing that's like making it more a seamless world? And then he's saying like, you know, less on the worry side, but more on the interested side is like, he's saying, you know, you look at it's not just what's on the ground that you can go to, but in the sky. So like you see Elpis in the sky and it's like, oh, you can just go there. How does that work? Do you teleport to it, or like is it literally like a No Man's Sky thing, hop in a ship and fly up into the sky, go through space and get to Elpis? Like, how exactly does that work? I am really curious to see some of this stuff. This is some really interesting stuff here. But anyways, let's move on to what is now confirming that Borderlands 4 will be on Unreal 5 and talking a little bit about the vehicles. Here we go. We want players to encounter a variety of dynamic content as they explore this world. So we are also focusing on that. Even if we go off on a tangent, there are various challenges like Borderlands 3, and thanks to technology such as Unreal Engine 5, we have been able to design each area with our own hands. As Randy said, even though we have a world of this size, so we are able to increase the things players can do while exploring and allow them to take on various events and activities. In addition to that, we have added the ability to generate vehicles. We call them personal vehicles, and as you can see in the video, you can call them almost at any time. It's useful when you want to easily go to a friend somewhere else. So, the obvious, Unreal Engine 5. Borderlands 4 will be on Unreal Engine 5. So worries about optimization and all that such, you know, you guys can discuss that down below and express your feelings on, you know, are you excited about Unreal 5? Are you worried about optimization and things? I'm worried about optimization. I am very worried about optimization, to the point where I'm probably going to build a new computer. Not really. Well, I mean, I'm saving up to rebuild my computer, but it's not solely for that. I just need to rebuild my computer. But the other obvious thing is that you're going to have personal vehicles that you can just kind of digistruct on the spot, that just sounds incredible to me. I am so excited about that. But maybe a sneaky detail to some that I didn't pick apart the first time, but just reading it now, I kind of read this in a different light. He's saying, so we are able to increase the things players can do while exploring and allow them to take on various events and activities. So I kind of wonder if they're gonna have more kind of random events and things in the open world that you can just, you know, find along the way and hop into and stuff. Maybe they'll do something with that. I'm kind of interested. That sentence kind of leaves me wondering if maybe there's more to it and they're gonna be crafting some new kind of like events that'll pop up in the open world and things, and you'll just kind of, you know, have your friends in the game and you'll be able to run off your separate ways and find things that you can just do, more than just side quests, like these like open world activities that are just kind of out there. That sounds interesting to me. Let me know what you guys think down below. That is everything we have here, so thank you for staying. If you stayed to this point, this is a very long video now, way longer than I intended, like double the time that it should have been, and I really appreciate y'all for staying up until now. Let me know down below what you think about all these details, everything being confirmed that I spoke of in the first half. Let me hear it. I am very excited, very excited to just get that gameplay trailer. There's going to be so much to pull apart. I can feel it. I feel like we're going to have so much to pull apart in that trailer. So excited to hear from y'all, and I'll see y'all in the next one for real this time. Peace out.